Somewhere in your kitchen, right now, on a shelf, in a cabinet, maybe already open on your counter, there is a jar of peanut butter. You have never once looked at that jar and thought about nuclear weapons. Jonathan Toebbe did. He looked at a jar of peanut butter and saw the perfect hiding place for the most classified submarine secrets the United States Navy had ever produced. And for 11 months, he was right. This is not a movie. No part of this story was invented. Every detail you are about to hear was documented in federal court records, FBI affidavits, and Department of Justice filings. The peanut butter sandwich is real. The nuclear secrets inside it are real. The man who built them into it held a United States Navy security clearance at the highest level this country issues. And he almost got away with it. On the 26th of June, 2021, in a park in Jefferson County, West Virginia, a man placed a half-eaten peanut butter sandwich on the ground near a public trash can. He walked away. He did not look back. Inside that sandwich, sealed in plastic wrap, pressed flat between the bread, was a memory card. On that memory card was information about the nuclear propulsion systems of American Virginia-class submarines. The kind of information that tells a foreign navy exactly how quiet those submarines are, how deep they can go, how long they can stay hidden, how hard they are to kill. The man who left that sandwich was Jonathan Toebbe, a nuclear engineer with the United States Navy, holding active Q clearance, the single highest security classification in the American nuclear program. And the person standing nearby, watching to make sure no one was coming, was his wife, Diana. They had been doing this for almost a year. To understand how a nuclear engineer ends up hiding classified data in a peanut butter sandwich, you have to understand what kind of access Jonathan Toebbe actually had. He was not a peripheral figure. He was not a contractor who glimpsed something sensitive from across a room. Jonathan Toebbe worked directly for the Department of the Navy as a nuclear engineer. His specialty was naval nuclear propulsion, the classified systems that make American submarines the most dangerous underwater vessels ever built. His Q clearance, granted by the Department of Energy, is not simply a high-level clearance. It is the clearance. It authorizes access to restricted data under the Atomic Energy Act. That is a legal category that sits above top secret. There is no civilian equivalent. Most people who spend their entire careers in government never come close to it. Toebbe had held this clearance for years. He had passed every background check, every polygraph, every loyalty review the system required. He had a wife, 2 children, a house in Annapolis, Maryland, a career that was, by every external measure, exactly what it looked like: a dedicated public servant trusted with America's most sensitive nuclear secrets. That was the cover. And it worked perfectly, because the system that granted him access had no mechanism, none, to detect what he had already decided to do. The story of Jonathan Toebbe does not begin in 2021. It begins in April of 2020. That month, Toebbe sent a package to a foreign government. The FBI has never officially confirmed which government received it, though court documents reference a country with significant nuclear intelligence interests. Inside the package was a sample of classified information, a demonstration of what he had access to, along with a letter. In that letter, Toebbe explained that he was a nuclear engineer with the United States Navy. He said he wanted to establish a relationship. He described himself as someone willing to provide continuous, ongoing access to information about American nuclear propulsion technology. He included instructions for how to contact him securely. He signed it with a code name. He then waited. What Toebbe did not know, what he could not have known, was that the package did not stay with the foreign government he intended. It was passed to the FBI. From the moment that letter arrived on American intelligence radar, Jonathan Toebbe was already in a trap. He just did not know the trap existed yet. He thought he was opening a business relationship. He was actually beginning a walk toward a federal prison cell, and he was dragging his wife directly into it with him. In December of 2020, the FBI made contact. An undercover agent posing as a representative of the foreign government Toebbe believed he was dealing with reached out through the encrypted channel Toebbe had specified in his letter. The message was careful, professional. It expressed interest. It asked for proof. Toebbe responded. Over the following months, Toebbe and the undercover agent exchanged communications through encrypted email. Toebbe used the Tor network, which routes internet traffic through multiple servers to conceal identity and location. He used Proton Mail, an encrypted email service. He took every precaution a careful person could take in 2021. None of it mattered, because the person he was being careful with was the FBI. In exchange for what Toebbe called a good faith gesture, a payment of $10,000 in cryptocurrency, transferred to a wallet he controlled, Toebbe provided the first real delivery of classified information. He passed data concerning submarine nuclear reactor designs, technical details about how American submarines move and operate underwater, and information that naval analysts later described as among the most sensitive in the Navy's entire nuclear program. The FBI received it, logged it, and confirmed its classification level. Then they sent more money, and they kept him talking. Toebbe did not email the classified data. He was more careful than that. He used dead drops, a spy tradecraft technique dating back to the Cold War, where an agent leaves physical material at a prearranged location without direct contact with the handler. No meeting, no faces, no witnesses. Just an object left in a place and an object collected later. What made Toebbe's dead drops different from every Cold War spy thriller you've ever seen is what he chose to hide the data inside. The first confirmed dead drop in June of 2021 contained a memory card wrapped in plastic and hidden inside a half-eaten peanut butter sandwich, left in a plastic bag near a trash can in a public park. The second dead drop, completed in August of 2021, used a Band-Aid wrapper. A Band-Aid wrapper. The kind that sits in medicine cabinets in 100 million American homes. A third drop used a chewing gum package. These were not random choices. Toebbe selected objects that no surveillance camera, no passing stranger, no park maintenance worker would ever look at twice. A half-eaten sandwich near a trash can does not raise questions, it answers them. It is litter. It is nothing. Inside the nothing was data that could, according to federal prosecutors, give a foreign adversary a material advantage in any future underwater conflict with the United States Navy. Diana Toebbe was present at multiple drops. Court documents describe her acting as a lookout standing nearby, positioned to observe the area and alert her husband if anyone approached. She was not a passive presence. She was an active operational participant. They had rehearsed this. They had planned it. They did it together. On the 9th of October, 2021, Jonathan and Diana Toebbe drove to a location in West Virginia to complete what they believed was another dead drop. They did not know they were completing it for the FBI. They did not know that every dead drop they had made, every encrypted message they had sent, every cryptocurrency payment they had received had been documented, photographed, and logged by federal agents who had been running them as assets since December of the previous year. When they arrived at the location, federal agents moved in. Both Jonathan and Diana Toebbe were taken into custody on the spot. At the time of arrest, Jonathan Toebbe had been passing classified nuclear submarine data to what he believed was a foreign power for approximately 11 months. The FBI had been watching every single delivery. The thing about the best traps is that they let the target feel completely free right up until the moment they don't. Federal prosecutors and Navy analysts spent months after the arrest attempting to assess the full scope of what Toebbe passed. Here is what the court record confirmed. He provided technical details related to the nuclear reactor plants on Virginia-class submarines. Virginia-class submarines are the current backbone of the United States Navy's fast attack submarine fleet, the most advanced and capable attack submarines America operates. There are currently more than 20 in active service, with more under construction. The information he passed covered submarine performance characteristics details that would allow a sophisticated foreign navy to better predict, track, and potentially target American submarines in a conflict scenario. He provided information about the reactors' operating cycles, their cooling systems, and their acoustic signatures, how much noise they make. Acoustic signature is one of the most closely guarded details in submarine warfare, because a submarine that can be heard is a submarine that can be found. A submarine that can be found can be killed. Naval analysts described his information as not simply classified, but operationally significant, meaning it was the kind of data that would be acted upon, not filed. The kind of data that changes force calculations. He had been paid approximately $100,000 in cryptocurrency across the operation. $100,000 for secrets that governments spend billions of dollars trying to obtain through satellite programs, intelligence networks, and decades of technical espionage. Diana Toebbe was not a nuclear engineer. She was a school teacher, a Latin teacher. She held no security clearance. She had no independent access to classified information. She also pleaded guilty. The question that generated the most debate in the coverage of this case, the question that divided legal commentators, former intelligence officers, and ordinary people who followed the story, was simple. How much did she know, and when did she know it? The court record does not leave much room for interpretation. Diana Toebbe was present at dead drops. She exchanged communications that demonstrated awareness of the operation. She was described in FBI documents as an active participant, not a peripheral one. But here is the detail that matters for understanding what happened to her. Diana Toebbe cooperated with federal prosecutors against her husband. She provided information that assisted the government's case. In exchange, prosecutors agreed to a reduced charge and recommended a lighter sentence. She was ultimately sentenced to nearly 22 months in federal prison. Her husband, who ran the operation, who held the clearance, who made the first contact with a foreign government, was sentenced to 228 months. That is 19 years. He will be in his early 70s when he is released, if he is released on schedule. Their children were left without both parents on the same day. Jonathan Toebbe was sentenced to 19 years. Now, let us apply the same standard to some other cases and see what the math looks like. Robert Hansen was an FBI agent who spied for Soviet and Russian intelligence for more than 2 decades. He compromised multiple intelligence programs, exposed American assets who were subsequently executed by the Soviets, and caused damage that intelligence analysts described as catastrophic. He died in prison in 2023, serving a life sentence without parole. That outcome, while extreme, reflects the severity of what he did. John Deutsch was the director of the Central Intelligence Agency. When he left office, investigators found that he had stored highly classified material, including information about covert operations on his personal home computers, computers that were connected to the internet and had been used to visit unsecured websites. The CIA's own Inspector General called the security violations serious and egregious. The Department of Justice prepared a misdemeanor charge. Before it was filed, President Clinton pardoned him. John Deutsch paid no fine, served no time, and lost no pension. David Petraeus was the director of the CIA and a retired four-star general. He provided his biographer, who was also his romantic partner, with notebooks containing classified information, including the identities of covert officers, war cabinet discussions, and intelligence capabilities and mechanisms. He lied to FBI investigators about it. He pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor charge of unauthorized removal and retention of classified material. He was sentenced to 2 years probation and a $40,000 fine. He kept his pension. He currently runs a private equity firm. Jonathan Toebbe received 19 years. David Petraeus received 2 years probation. The difference between those two sentences is not the law. The law is the same law. The difference is the address on your resume when you walk into the courtroom. After the arrest, after the guilty pleas, after the sentencing, the question that Congress and the intelligence community could not escape was this: how does a man with Q clearance pass classified submarine secrets for 11 months without a single internal system flagging it? The answer is uncomfortable. The American security clearance system is extraordinarily good at one thing: vetting who you were before you got the clearance. It looks backward. It examines your history. It checks your finances, your relationships, your foreign contacts, your loyalty record, up to the point of the investigation. What it is not designed to do, what it has historically been unable to do, is monitor what you do after the clearance is granted. The assumption baked into the system is that a person who has passed the initial vetting will continue to deserve the trust placed in them. Toebbe passed the vetting. Then he decided, at some point after the clearance was granted, that he wanted money more than he wanted his oath. The system had no way to see that decision being made. There are now discussions at the federal level about expanded behavioral monitoring, continuous evaluation programs, and anomaly detection systems for personnel with access to the most sensitive nuclear information. Some of those programs are already being quietly implemented, but the honest assessment from people inside the intelligence community is this: the clearance system was designed for a world where betrayal was relatively rare and operationally slow. A man with a laptop, a Tor browser, and a Proton Mail account can compress 11 months of damage into a single evening. The system has not fully caught up to that reality. Go back to April of 2020. Toebbe mails a package to a foreign government. The package includes a sample of classified data and a letter offering his services. The foreign government, whoever they are, does not recruit him. They pass the package to the United States government. They hand it over. That decision, that one choice by an unnamed foreign government official in some embassy or intelligence service somewhere, is the reason Jonathan Toebbe is in prison today and not running an active espionage operation for a hostile power. The FBI did not catch him because their surveillance systems flagged unusual data transfers from a naval facility. They did not catch him because a colleague noticed something suspicious. They did not catch him through any domestic detection mechanism at all. They caught him because a foreign government decided to be honest. That is the part of this story that does not appear in most summaries. The entire case, the arrest, 19-year sentence, the disruption of what could have become a long-running nuclear espionage program, all of it flows from a single decision made by people we will never know the names of. Working for a government we have never been officially told, doing something that was in no way required of them. The American nuclear security apparatus did not stop Jonathan Toebbe. A foreign government that could have recruited him chose not to, and then handed him to his own country instead. Think about what that means. Jonathan Toebbe is currently serving his sentence at a federal correctional facility. His release date, barring any sentence modifications, is in the early 2040s. Diana Toebbe was released from federal custody after serving her sentence of approximately 22 months. She is on supervised release. The conditions of that release include restrictions on computer access and foreign travel. Their children were placed in the care of family members. The specific foreign government that received Toebbe's initial package has never been officially named in open court documents. The FBI and Department of Justice have referred to it only as Country 1 in public filings. Intelligence analysts and journalists who have covered the case have offered assessments, but no official confirmation has been made public. The information Toebbe passed the actual technical data about Virginia-class submarine systems cannot be recalled. It exists somewhere, in whatever hands it reached before the FBI intercepted the channel. The damage assessment conducted by the Navy remains classified. The peanut butter sandwich is in an evidence locker, or it has been destroyed. Either way, it served its purpose, just not the one Toebbe intended. Jonathan Toebbe had Q clearance, the highest nuclear access this country grants. He had passed every test, every check, every review the system had. He had a wife who trusted him enough to stand lookout in a public park while he hid classified data in a sandwich. He had children who woke up one morning to find out their father had been living a second life the entire time they had known him. He had $100,000 in cryptocurrency, and he had 19 years starting now to decide whether it was worth it. The most classified secrets in American history were not stolen by a foreign spy. They were packed into a peanut butter sandwich by an American who thought he was the smartest person in the room and handed directly to the FBI.